4-year course of my Bachelor of Engineering, I think I did not learn anything.
Courses, reels, LinkedIn posts, salary screenshots, and everywhere you go, you see AI.
I realized that actually this is a very niche domain. You will not be able to pivot into that niche domain without having good expertise and deep expertise or experience.
People see that all trending reels that is there, people live on luxury life when they are in other countries. People from India see it. That's how reels tempt for people from India to make the decisions. It's more becoming an emotional decision than being a financial decision. Were there any reality situations where you didn't expect, okay, I didn't know that these expenses were in reality different from what I saw on the internet?
1 year of spending, it's around 8.5 lakhs during that time.
Could be any developer, but then if they want to become an AI engineer, what do you think those skills that they can transfer?
So I won't say there is any skills that you won't need. You will need everything plus extra.
What was that hardest thing for you for the transition from becoming a backend engineer to an AI engineer?
When I actually started applying for those jobs in India back that time, I did not get any response. No one responded to any of the applications.
Welcome to the next episode of Women in Tech series in Swift Published. We are a team of engineers who are focused in bringing up tech insights from people around the globe. I am Dharshana, lead dev based out in UK. You can connect with us on LinkedIn. Our details are available on the description box. Follow and subscribe to Swift Published to stay tuned and be updated whenever we have new guests on our channel. We have already published mini series hosting various guests. Feel free to go and check out them. Now let's get into this episode. Welcome everyone to the next episode of Women in Tech series on Swift Published podcast. Today we are going to talk about AI. AI is everywhere today. Courses, reels, LinkedIn posts, salary screenshots, and everywhere you go you see AI. But very few conversations talk about the real journey behind becoming an AI engineer actually. So today's episode is going to be completely different. I have a guest who started as a backend engineer, transitioned into AI through practical hands-on experience. She is currently working in Europe and she has gone through AI interviews across regions. We'll be talking about the real transition into AI, financial reality of studying in EU, working abroad, AI interview structures, and also few things about salary, visas, and negotiations. So the episode is going to be for anyone who needs clarity about AI engineering and doesn't fall for any of those hypes. Welcoming today's guest, Suparna. She has been on Swift Published already, but then this is going to be a condensed version of what we discussed in the previous episodes, and we would have more details about AI, Europe and studies in Europe, and visa salaries, as I said. Hi, Suparna. Happy to have you back on Swift Published.
Hi, thank you, Dharshana. Happy to be back here again.
Thank you, Suparna. So let's start from the beginning. Okay, so you started your career as a backend engineer and then you have now become an AI engineer. What was the moment that you realized that you are for AI? How did you move from a backend engineer to AI engineer?
That's a pretty much actually interesting story. So when I started, it was around 2017-18, and that time it was not AI as in hype like now. Pretty much like our mobiles are getting smarter because we used to get some notifications, some intelligent things, and I think that time I was so curious and I was like getting fascinated at how things are happening. Even in the Facebook, we used to upload some images and we started getting some suggestions of the people to tag automatically. So these small things actually I started noticing, and I felt like how things are happening behind the scenes. And I was just curious and started some online courses. So after taking some courses in few months, I felt like it is becoming my obsession. So after my work time, I used to always just go to the course and study an assignment, do the assignments and all. And I felt like I want to be part of that community that time and just build solutions like that. So I wanted to pivot my career from as normal backend engineer to in AI back that time.
So you did say about how you started becoming obsessed with AI and all those things, and you were into backend engineering back then, right? What was the hardest shift? Because we have maths, we have stats, we have thinking about data. There's so many things that's involved in AI. What was that hardest thing for you for the transition from becoming a backend engineer into an AI engineer?
So it is a big journey. It is not a one day thing, of course. So I started taking the courses, and I told that, and the hard reality came after that only, when I actually started applying for those jobs in India. Back that time, I did not get any response. Like it was completely no one responded to my any of the applications, and I've realized that actually this is a very niche domain, and you will not be able to pivot into that niche domain without having good expertise and deep expertise or experience. And that's when actually I made my mind to quit my job and go for a complete full-time masters and specialize in this AI field. And then I started checking the good infrastructure, good educations, and availability or options, opportunities in this field. And at that time, in I did not find good options in India, and then only I started looking outside of India and going abroad. I came to Germany. I started my masters. It's a full, like, extensive journey where you explore a lot of things. I mean, doing master, it was, I think, one of my biggest, I would say, learning. You learn a lot when you study abroad. It's not just about the tech. It's also about how you communicate with other people in different culture, express your ideas, opinions, and you actually start to do the hands-on. So I realized that the education system in India and the education system outside, how they are different. 4 year course of my Bachelor of Engineering, I think I did not learn anything to practically apply them. I just learned, memorize things, some theoretical knowledge. But when it comes to the applications, I think I learned way more in 2 years than in 4 years, I would say. Over the course of my masters, I started also doing my research as a side job. I was working as a research assistant. So that's where I used to work with professors and PhD guys in a research institute. And then where I actually started applying those with real problems and real data sets and applying those ML techniques. So it has been a very long journey to become an actual AI engineer from just a backend engineer.
So before we get into the discussion of studying in AU, how the process went and all that, usually now the hype is that study a certificate and then you get into AI engineering somehow. But then I understand that you wanted to do that engineering foundations properly before you started actually into AI engineering. Do you feel that was risky? What would you recommend, doing certifications and then moving, or learning the basics is important? What is your vote for?
Actually, yeah, the world has been fast forwarded from that time to this time. So it is not exactly similar because of Gen AI boom we have been seeing from the last two years, I would say. Back then, it was different. The AI and machine learning, this whole domain has been transitioning very, very fast. So when I started, it was fairly new, but now it has been transitioned very fast. So depends on how you look your future. Basically, if you just want to work with Gen AI thing and become a Gen AI engineer, you may not need the math and the stats, like the very technical deep expertise and knowledge into building those models. So you can have some online courses simultaneously when you are working and still start actually exploring and applying them into some real practical work. But if you are actually looking for yourself behind those machine learning model building, like when you build those models, just not use the models, for that you need really fundamental experience of how to build those models, what are the machine learning fundamentals. And for that, I think it's still require the basic knowledge, the base, basically. Yeah.
I get that. So since you have transitioned from a backend engineer to AI engineer, I'm also a backend engineer now into a full stack engineering and all those things. If someone would want to transition from their current development experience, could be any developer, but then if they want to become an AI engineer, what do you think those skills that they can transfer and then continue to use it? And what are the things that they wouldn't need when they become an AI engineer?
So I won't say there is any skills that you won't need. You will need everything plus extra, and you can definitely transition some of the skills that you have already. That is like practically applying or coding them. After you have the fundamentals, you have to translate them into code and actually apply on real problems. So that is where you already have the skills to how to apply in real problems, how to code, how to ship the code as a product, as a deliverable to the production, basically. So you know the whole drills, writing test cases, building, writing your code base, structuring your code base, properly optimizing your code. You have good software engineering knowledge, how to build your systems, where to how to like design the whole end-to-end pipeline as a system, because machine learning as itself is just a small part of the whole system. It cannot work independently. So to make it work as an integrated system, you have to know the moving parts here and then and how to integrate them. So all this knowledge you can actually transition from your software, from your backend engineering knowledge to ML engineering knowledge. Along with that, you will need the ML fundamentals also.
So, with the discussion so far, I understand that it is not about shortcuts, it is about learning things well and then doing the transition properly, right? And then you did say that you did your master's in Germany, and studying abroad these days are more sold by the agencies across, right? There are consultancies who says, come in here, do your masters, do this, do that. There's so many perks that's happening. But then you have studied here, right? So when people think about studying in Europe, there's so many things inside it. It's about the tuition fees, what is the real expenses that happen, how do I move? So what's your experience about studying in Germany? How did it all start basically? What did you look for when you started seeing at the universities?
If you are dreaming about or if you're planning about studying masters, I think you should have a clear goal, like what you want to achieve or what is your long term goal, basically. There can be many goals, like someone is looking for higher salary, or if someone is looking for domain expertise or pivot into new field like I did. So there can be many goals. So depending on your goals, you should look for how it fits to your actual journey and long term plan. So for my case, I was completely wanted to just specialize in that field. I That was the sole and whole goal for my case. So I started looking for the countries where this machine learning and AI is actually they have good ecosystem to apply the machine learning and AI in practice, and a research focused environment. I considered three countries, actually US, UK, and Germany. And because it was completely my sole dream or sole goal, I did not contact any agencies or anything. I did my whole research and the whole process by myself. So I knew and I was clear in my mind that what I want. So I started looking for those options and listing down the universities and checked into detail course curriculums in those university websites, and if that is matching what actually I am looking for, and the opportunities like practical experiences, internship, or research focused experiences you get to do during your master. So in many universities, near to many universities, like they have collaboration with the other research institutes. So you get to, as a research student, you can get to work with those in institutes and you get your practical experience there. So there these are my like defining factors, one of them. And then of course the main factor was the money, the education fee. So I knew my bound finance reality, and I found the US was pretty expensive and it was out of my range. So although US has good options, like in terms of studying and post-study opportunity, that back that time, I'm not talking about this time because the visa rules have changed a lot in recent times. Many people said in Germany, actually, you might need German language. So that how many people just cancel out and even don't look in for Germany. But when I actually checked myself in depth, I found there are many courses they are offered in English, particularly in this tech, science and tech area. So most of the public universities in Germany, they are very, very low fee, and they are also very world class, like they are recognized in other countries even, and they have very good infrastructures and opportunities to work. So if you can get to those public universities, then you don't have to spend huge amount of money just for the university fee. Some of the courses require GRE, and all of the courses actually require TOEFL or ELTS score, that is the English score. If you are planning, then I think you have to like plan for those, getting those scores first. So everything matters to everything all together actually will decide your admission. Yeah.
I wanted to ask this question because these days it's more like an emotional decision, right? People see that all trending reels that is there, people live on luxury life when they are in other countries. People from India see it. That's how reels tempt for people from India to make the decisions. It's more becoming an emotional decision than being a financial decision. But then with what you explained, it is very clear that you did enough of research to see what you have, what's your needs as in learning, and then you also checked what's your financial reality also before you chose the right place for you. Do you still think that studying abroad is a smart investment, or have you seen now that there are good places to study inside India itself?
A smart investment, I think things changed a lot within this course of time, and there are a lot of opportunities in India itself. And if you want to grow, there are a lot of options. While you don't need to leave your job, you can even do masters while you are within the job. And I have also learned that while you are working and gaining your experiences, if that gives you practical exposure to the practical applications. But in theoretical studies, it is more bound to theoretical. So there are pros and cons in both sides. If you can actually leverage the area or the field you are in properly, then I think there is no bound. Like it's not really necessary that you have to go abroad. It's completely depending on your personal choices and circumstances. Like I wanted to specialize in this field, that's why I want to do the masters. If I can get the same exposure in my work experience, then it may not be necessary. For some job, I have seen research scientist, applied scientist, this kind of job, the entry requirement, they look for masters. So you cannot even apply if you don't have master. But you don't have to have master in other country. You can do it in even India. Nowadays there are a lot of good, I think BITS Pilani or some IIT, they are pretty good. So yeah, you can go for there.
Towards the end, I would like to know about, you did consider lots of things about financial contributions, how much you would have to put in. But then were there any reality situations where you didn't expect, okay, I didn't know that these expenses were in reality different from what I saw on the internet? Did you see any differences on the finance side?
During my study in Germany, actually, I can give some number. You have to have a blocked account when you come to Germany, and that blocked account, they estimates at about like 1 year of spending. It's around 8.5 lakhs during that time, and at present it is around 11 to 12 lakhs for a year.
Hmm.
So that is the expense you can think of for a 1 year, including your education fee, living expenses, and like renting, your food, and daily commute or anything. And then if you start earning, by that time you can always have save and spend remaining duration for your education. In Germany, it was pretty cheap, like compared to the other countries I have seen, particularly when you are a student in Germany, because as a student you get a lot of discounted price there. University fee, which is very less, like it was 250 to 300 euro per semester per 6 months. That includes a travel card. With that, you can take any transport within that region, so you don't have to pay any extra commute. And then there were gym, sports benefits, which you can also avail within the university campus itself. So lot of costs like are subsidized in that sense when you were a student in Germany. But after after your masters, you have to now spend all your own expenses, and yeah, by that time you should be able to actually earn quite well to live live life.
that side of lifestyle. Yeah, I get that. Thank you. Thank you, Suparna, for all those details about studying in EU and the expenses behind it. With Suparna, in this part one of video, we have discussed about studying abroad, why she chose Germany, why this particular course, and much more details. Following which, in part two, we will be discussing about her interview process, how she found the job where she is now, and work-life balance that is happening in Germany. If you would like to know more about the interview process, how she got her job, and how work-life balance is in Germany, watch out for part two.